You've become so good at holding everyone else together that you've forgotten how to fall apart yourself. So practiced at being the strong one that you don't even know how to ask for help anymore. So committed to being everyone's rock that you've turned into stone. Solid, immovable, unbreakable on the outside but slowly crumbling on the inside where nobody can see, where nobody thinks to look because you've trained them so well to believe you do not need anything. Don't struggle with anything. Don't break under pressure that would destroy anyone else. On the outside, you're holding it together, showing up, functioning, being the person everyone calls when they're falling apart, being the shoulder everyone cries on, being the one who always has answers even when you're drowning in questions, being the strong one because that's who you've always been. That's what's expected. That's the role you've been playing for so long you've forgotten it's a role and started believing it's who you actually are. But inside, in the places you don't let anyone see, in the moments when you're alone, and the performance finally stops, you're screaming. You're begging for someone to notice you're not okay. You're fantasizing about someone asking, "How are you really?" and actually waiting for the real answer instead of the automatic, "I'm fine," that you've learned to deliver so convincingly that nobody questions it anymore. Nobody pushes, nobody sees through the mask because the mask has become so perfect, so flawless, so believable that even you sometimes forget it's there until you're alone. And it comes off, and you remember that underneath all that strength is a person who's exhausted, who's scared, who desperately needs help but has no idea how to ask for it without feeling like a fraud, like an imposter, like you're betraying everyone who depends on you by admitting you can't carry them anymore, can't carry yourself anymore, can't keep pretending that being strong means never being weak. You're the one people call in crisis, the one they lean on when everything falls apart, the one they trust to have perspective and wisdom and solutions. And you show up every time you hold them while they cry. You talk them through their panic. You carry their burdens like they weigh nothing, even though they're crushing you. You've become everyone's therapist, everyone's parent, everyone's safe space. And somewhere along the way you stopped being a person with needs and became a function, became a service, became the strong one who exists to support others, while your own support system consists of nobody because nobody thinks you need support. Nobody imagines you struggle. Nobody considers that maybe you're tired too, scared too, breaking too. You can't cry in front of people without feeling ashamed, can't admit you're struggling without feeling weak. Can't ask for help without feeling like you're failing at the one thing you're supposed to be good at. Being strong, being capable. Being fine when nothing is fine. You've learned to cry in the shower where nobody can hear. To break down in your car before you go inside. To process your pain alone because showing it to others feels like burdening them. Feels like role reversal that makes you uncomfortable. Feels like admitting you're not who they think you are. You handle emergencies without panic, solve problems without complaint, survive crises without support, and everyone thinks that means you don't feel them, don't struggle with them, don't need help with them, when actually you feel everything. You're struggling constantly, you need help desperately. You've just learned to do it all silently, invisibly alone. This isn't strength you chose. It's strength that was forced on you when you were too young to understand that children aren't supposed to be strong, aren't supposed to be everyone's emotional support, aren't supposed to be the stable one when the adults around them are unstable, and you adapted, you survived. You became what the situation required. But surviving isn't the same as thriving, and being strong because you had to be isn't the same as being strong because you want to be, and now decades later you're still playing that role. Still being the strong one, still carrying everyone, still believing that asking for help would make you weak, when actually asking for help when you need it is the strongest thing you could do, is the most honest thing, is the most human thing, but you don't know how because nobody ever modeled it for you. Nobody ever showed you that strong people also need support, that capable people also struggle, that being okay sometimes means admitting you're not okay and letting someone hold you the way you've been holding everyone else your entire life. You learned that your value came from being useful, from solving problems, from being needed. And if you're not needed, if you're the one with needs, then what are you? Why do you matter? What's your purpose if not to be strong for others? And that belief has trapped you in a cycle where you can't receive because you've only learned to give, can't be vulnerable because you've only practiced being strong, can't ask for help because you've only ever been the helper. And the cost of that cycle is that you're slowly disappearing, slowly dying under the weight of everyone else's problems, while yours go unaddressed, unspoken, unknown. Here's the truth that will shatter everything you've built your identity on. Being strong doesn't mean never needing help. It means having the courage to ask for help when you need it. Having the wisdom to know that carrying everyone alone will eventually break you. Having the self-awareness to recognize that independence isn't the same as isolation, and self-sufficiency isn't the same as suffering in silence. And every moment you spend pretending you're fine when you're not. Every time you say, "I'm okay," when you're drowning. Every instance of you showing up for others while you're falling apart. You're not being strong, you're being scared. Scared that if people knew you weren't okay, they'd stop seeing you as strong. Scared that if you admitted you need support, you'd lose your value. Scared that if you stopped being the rock, you'd lose your role and your identity and your reason for existing, when actually the opposite is true. When actually the people who truly love you want to support you. The way you support them want to know when you're struggling, want the opportunity to give back what you've been giving, but you won't let them because you've convinced yourself that needing them makes you weak, when it actually makes you human, makes you real, makes you someone they can have a mutual relationship with, instead of someone they just take from and never give to because you won't let them. You can start healing today by telling one person the truth. Not the "I'm fine" truth, not the "I've got it handled" truth, but the real truth about how exhausted you are, how heavy everything feels, how much you need support even though asking for it terrifies you, and you pick someone safe, someone who's proven they care, someone who won't use your vulnerability against you or make you feel bad for having needs, and you say, "I'm not okay and I need help." And then you let them help even though every instinct is screaming at you to take back the admission, to minimize the need, to go back to being strong because being vulnerable feels like dying, feels like exposing yourself to danger, feels like giving someone the power to hurt you in ways you've protected yourself from by never letting anyone close enough to see that underneath the strength is someone who's tired, who's scared, who's been holding everything together for so long they don't know what would happen if they finally let go. Practice receiving without immediately reciprocating. When someone offers support, say yes instead of "I'm fine." Accept help instead of insisting you can handle it alone. Let someone carry you for once instead of being the one who carries, and sit with the discomfort of that. Sit with the feeling that you're weak or wrong or broken for needing them, because that feeling is a lie, is old programming, is the voice of everyone who made you believe that your needs were burdens, and you need to hear it and recognize it as a lie so you can start choosing different. Start believing that you're allowed to need people, that needing people doesn't make you weak, that strong people have support systems and isolated people have breakdowns. Set a boundary where you stop showing up for everyone else until you've shown up for yourself. Stop answering every crisis call, stop solving every problem, stop being available to everyone when you're not available to yourself. Because you can't keep giving from empty and expecting to have something left, can't keep pouring yourself into others and wondering why you feel depleted. Can't keep being everyone's everything and be surprised when you have nothing left for you. You're too strong to ask for help because you were taught that strength means independence, that needing means weakness, that asking means failing, but on the outside you're holding it together while on the inside you're imploding. And that's not strength, that's just slow-motion self-destruction with a smile. That's martyrdom disguised as service. That is dying while everyone around you thinks you're thriving because you've gotten so good at the performance that nobody sees the person behind it anymore. And you don't need to keep being strong, don't need to keep carrying everyone, don't need to keep pretending you don't need what everyone needs. Support, understanding, someone to hold you while you fall apart so you can finally put yourself back together instead of just holding the pieces in place and hoping nobody notices you're broken. Because you are broken, because carrying everyone breaks you, because being strong for everyone else means being weak for yourself. And it's time, past time, to stop choosing everyone else over you, to stop being the rock and start being the river that flows, that moves, that's allowed to change shape, that doesn't have to be solid and immovable and unbreakable, that can be fluid and vulnerable and real. And if people can't handle that, if they only wanted you for your strength and not your humanity, then they never really wanted you. They wanted what you could do for them. And losing people who only loved your function is not loss, it's liberation. It's freedom to finally be human instead of being a monument. And monuments are impressive, but they're also cold and hard and alone. And you've been alone long enough, been strong long enough, been fine when you're not fine long enough. And whoever taught you that asking for help was weakness lied to you. Betrayed you, damaged you, because asking for help when you need it is the bravest thing you'll ever do, is proof that you're finally choosing yourself, is evidence that you've learned that being strong doesn't mean carrying everything alone. It means being wise enough to share the load, honest enough to admit when it's too heavy, human enough to need others the way they've needed you. And that need, that honest, vulnerable admission that you can't do this alone anymore, that's not the end of your strength. That's the beginning of your healing.